Santa Monica Beach. A Saturday afternoon that was supposed to belong only to his son. Daniel Carter walked back from the drink stand, 2 bottles of water in hand, and stopped cold. A woman sat beside Ethan on the sand, helping him shape a sandcastle. She looked up. Elizabeth Moore, his boss. The COO who never smiled in meetings. But here, with bare feet and wind-swept hair, she looked at him and said something that would crack open everything he had buried for 4 years. You look at your son as if he's the only thing you have left in this world. But is that fair to him? Daniel did not answer. He could not. The words hit somewhere deep in a place he had locked away the day he buried his wife. Elizabeth Moore stood before him, not in the tailored blazer she wore in boardrooms, not with the cold precision that made junior executives avoid her gaze. Here she was, just a woman with sand on her feet and something unreadable in her eyes. She glanced once more at Ethan, who was still focused on his sandcastle, oblivious to the weight of the moment passing between the 2 adults. Then she offered a small nod, almost an apology, and walked away down the shoreline. Daniel watched her disappear into the crowd of weekend beachgoers. His hands were still holding the 2 water bottles, the plastic warm now from his grip. Ethan called out to him, asking for help with a tower that kept collapsing, and Daniel forced himself to move to kneel beside his son, to pretend that nothing had changed. But something had. He could feel it like a crack in glass, invisible at first, spreading slowly outward. 4 years. That was how long it had been since the accident. 4 years since the phone call that split his life into before and after. His wife Sarah had been driving home from her sister's house on a rainy November night. A truck ran a red light. The doctor said she died on impact, which was supposed to be a comfort. It was not. Daniel had been at home putting Ethan to bed, reading him a story about a bear who lost his way in the forest. By the time he finished the last page, his wife was already gone, and he did not even know it. After the funeral, Daniel made a decision. He would not take risks. He would not chase promotions or new opportunities. He would not date, would not travel, would not do anything that might disrupt the fragile stability he had built around himself and his son. His job as a data engineer at a tech company in Los Angeles paid well enough. The work was predictable. He clocked in, he clocked out. He picked Ethan up from school. He made dinner. He checked homework. He went to bed. The routine became his religion. Stability was everything. He had no right to gamble when Ethan depended on him. Elizabeth Moore existed in a different universe. She was the chief operating officer 3 levels above him in the company hierarchy. In meetings, she spoke in clipped sentences and never wasted words. People respected her. People feared her. Daniel had heard rumors about her personal life, fragments of gossip exchanged in break rooms. A divorce years ago, a daughter she never mentioned. But he had never spoken to her directly, not beyond a polite nod in the elevator or a formal greeting at company events. She was his boss in the most distant sense of the word. Until today, Ethan tugged at his sleeve, pulling him back to the present. The boy held up a small shell, white and perfectly spiraled, and announced that it was a gift for his collection. Daniel smiled the kind of smile he had practiced so many times. It came automatically now. He told Ethan it was beautiful. He helped finish the sandcastle. He bought ice cream from a vendor walking past. He did all the things a good father was supposed to do. But Elizabeth's words kept circling in his mind, relentless as the tide. You look at your son as if he is the only thing you have left in this world. But is that fair to him? What did she mean by that? Was she criticizing him, pitying him? Or had she seen something that he himself refused to acknowledge? Daniel did not know. He only knew that no one had ever said anything like that to him before. Friends told him he was doing a great job. His mother said he was strong. His co-workers admired how he balanced work and single parenthood. Everyone praised him for surviving. No one asked if surviving was the same as living. The drive home was quiet. Ethan fell asleep in the back seat, his face still flushed from the sun, the shell clutched in his small fist. Daniel kept the radio off. He needed the silence. The apartment was waiting for them in downtown Los Angeles, a modest two-bedroom unit that he had moved into after selling the house he once shared with Sarah. Too many memories in that house, too many rooms that echoed with her absence. The apartment was smaller, simpler, easier to manage. It was enough. He carried Ethan inside, changed him into pajamas without waking him, and tucked him into bed. The boy murmured something about the sandcastle, then turned over and sank deeper into sleep. Daniel stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching the rise and fall of his son's breathing. This was his purpose. This was his reason for getting up each morning. Ethan was everything. But is that fair to him? Daniel walked to the kitchen and poured himself a glass of water. He drank it standing at the sink, staring out the window at the city lights below. His reflection looked back at him in the dark glass, tired and hollow. 38 years old, widowed, a father, a provider, a man who had stopped living the day his wife died and had been merely existing ever since. He had told himself it was sacrifice. He had told himself it was love. Now he was not so sure. Sleep did not come easily that night. Daniel lay in bed, eyes open, replaying the scene on the beach over and over. Elizabeth's face, her voice. The way she had looked at Ethan, not with the casual interest of a stranger, but with something deeper. Something that looked almost like grief. He wondered what her story was. He wondered why she had been alone on that beach, why she had stopped to help a child build a sandcastle, why she had said those words to a man she barely knew. Around 2 a.m, he gave up on sleep and got out of bed. The apartment was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. He walked to Ethan's room and pushed the door open gently just to check on him. The boy was still asleep, sprawled across the mattress in that boneless way children have. But something on the small desk by the window caught Daniel's attention. A drawing. He crossed the room and picked it up, tilting it toward the light from the hallway. Ethan loved to draw. He drew constantly, filling sketchbooks with pictures of dinosaurs and superheroes and imaginary worlds. But this drawing was different. It showed a beach waves sketched in blue crayon sand in yellow and brown. A single figure stood at the edge of the water. A man. Alone. He was facing the ocean, his back to the viewer, and there was something in his posture that made Daniel's chest tighten. The man looked lonely. The man looked lost. There was no child in the picture, no Ethan running through the waves, no father and son building castles together. Just one solitary figure staring out at an endless sea. Daniel set the drawing down with trembling hands. His son had not drawn a family. His son had drawn his father's loneliness. An 8-year-old boy had seen what Daniel had spent 4 years trying to hide, and had captured it in crayon on a piece of paper. The realization hit him like a physical blow. He leaned against the desk, breathing hard, fighting the urge to wake Ethan and hold him, and apologize for something the boy probably did not even understand. What was he teaching his son? That life was something to be endured, not enjoyed. That safety mattered more than happiness. That love was dangerous. That hope was foolish. That the best you could do was survive until the end. Daniel thought about his own childhood, about his father, who worked 60-hour weeks and never complained about his mother, who smiled through her exhaustion and called it duty. He had inherited their philosophy. He had made it his own, and now he was passing it on to Ethan, this legacy of quiet resignation, this belief that wanting more was selfish. Elizabeth's second question echoed in his mind. But is that fair to him? No. The answer was immediate and undeniable. It was not fair. Ethan deserved a father who laughed without forcing it, who took chances